Welcome everyone to this explainer. If you've ever tried picking up German, you've probably heard the absolute horror stories about grammatical cases, right? They've got this massive reputation for being incredibly intimidating and confusing. But today, we're going to completely demystify them together. We'll be looking closely at the German pronoun matrix, and by the end of our time today, this supposedly scary linguistic hurdle is going to feel like a totally logical, completely manageable puzzle. Okay, let's dive right in. Take a look at this authentic, handwritten physical chart, complete with a fantastic pink and blue gradient pen pointing the way. Now, I know exactly what you might be thinking. Looking at a 3x8 grid with 24 different words can definitely seem completely overwhelming at first glance. It basically looks like a massive, terrifying memorization test, doesn't it? But seriously, don't panic. We are going to break this down so smoothly, you won't even realize you're learning grammar. Here is our step-by-step roadmap for today. First, we'll meet the German pronouns. Second, nominative, the main actors. Third, accusative, the direct receivers. Fourth, the notorious dative, the indirect receivers. And finally, number 5, hacking the pronoun grid. Section 1. Meet the German pronouns. To really succeed here, I want you to completely shift your mindset. Imagine this chart as a stage play. An actor changes their costume depending on their role, right? Well, German pronouns do the exact same thing. They actually change their spelling based on their grammatical role in the sentence. But before any costume swaps happen, we need to set up the baseline concept. The foundation of our stage play is the who. Who is doing the action? That is our blank canvas. Section 2, nominative, the main actors. These are the stars of our show, the active subjects carrying out the action. Here is our baseline nominative column. We have our singular pronouns, ich for I, du for you, and sie, es for he, she, and it. Moving over to the plural side, we have wir for we, ihr for the plural you, and sie again for they or the formal you. Honestly, if you've dabbled in learning German for even a week, you probably already know this main cast of characters. They're the standard dictionary versions of the words. Simple, straightforward, and exactly what you'd expect. Section 3. Accusative, direct receivers. But what happens when our main actors are having the action done directly to them? That introduces consequence. Notice how the words actually begin to evolve when they shift into this accusative column. Look really closely at those top 2 rows. Ich becomes mich, and du becomes dich. You can really see and hear those subtle consonant shifts. We're dropping the vowels at the very start and adding an M or a D, but keeping that distinct ch sound at the end. Meanwhile, becomes ihn, taking on a hard N ending. It's a visual shift indicating that the person is now the direct object of the sentence. Section 4, dative, indirect receivers. Now we enter the historically tricky column, the dative case, representing the indirect receivers. It basically answers the questions, to whom or for whom the action is being done. But I'm going to let you in on a little secret to instantly recognize these words. Look at the endings on the right side. The dative column is heavily dominated by R and M sounds. Mich turns into mir, dich turns into dir, ihn and es both become ihm, and sie becomes ihr. It's almost a completely different phonetic family. Once you recognize that R and M dominance, this column loses a ton of its intimidating mystery. So, the crucial point here is that these specific words are massive stumbling blocks for language learners. In the accusative, we have mich and dich with that soft sh ending. In the dative, they transform into mir and dir with that distinct R ending. If you can visually lock in this specific comparison, the ch for direct receivers versus the R for indirect receivers, you've just solved one of the most common pitfalls in German grammar. Section 5, hacking the pronoun grid. I want you to take a deep breath right now because you absolutely do not need to memorize 24 unique words to master this matrix. Notice the pink pen pointing right at the middle of the grid here. Look at how much repetition actually exists. The secret to mastering this grid isn't brute force memorization. It is looking for the natural overlaps. Let's break down those overlaps into some incredibly easy cheat codes derived straight from our image. Cheat code 1. Z and S do not change in the accusative column. They just stay Z and S. Total freebies. Now look at the bottom half for cheat code 2. Wir becomes uns for both the accusative and dative columns. It's literally a 2-for-1 deal. And cheat code 3, ihr becomes euch for both accusative and dative as well. Suddenly, this terrifying 24-word memorization task shrinks down into a series of highly satisfying aha moments. The grid practically hacks itself for you. To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a thought that zooms out from this rigid grammar table. Think about the word sie that we saw repeated so many times. According to our chart, sie can mean she, it can mean they, or it can mean formal you. And its spelling stays perfectly identical in both the nominative and accusative cases. So I have to ask, if a single tiny word has that many different fundamental translations depending purely on the surrounding situation, how much of human language is just context? It really makes you appreciate the fascinating, complex puzzle of human communication, doesn't it? Keep that in mind the next time you look at a grammar chart. Thanks for watching, and keep learning.